Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. Want to welcome you here to the webinar this afternoon. We're going to wait for a few more folks to get to start showing up here. We are just getting started up here. We're right up at the top of the hour, so you're not late yet. You'll know if we're in about another 3 to 4 minutes if you're late, because I'll be through some of the introduction here. I hope that you're having a great Wednesday. Lord, goodness gracious, it's the third week of March, if you can believe it. We got about another full week of March next week, and my goodness, it'll be already April, if y'all can imagine that. So what a quick year we are already in, and for those that keep up in quarters, we'll be already completed with Q1, if y'all can believe that. That's amazing. Hey, today we're going to learn how to become a healthcare expert and engage with doctors. This is what we're going to be dealing with today. So those that are looking forward to learning a little bit about how to get your first client, today's the day that you're going to learn a little bit more, and actually some additional information that I've added to some of the previous information that we've had. James, it's good to see you too. So I appreciate you piping in over there. For those that are just joining us this afternoon, again, we're going to be talking about how you're going to learn to become a healthcare expert and then engage with doctors. So that's the whole topic of this afternoon. Now, we may go up all the way up to the first top part of the hour. I've tried to keep it as short as possible because the content is so deep. Obviously, we won't be able to get into everything this afternoon. So, but again, I certainly welcome everybody. Aline, it's certainly good to see you. Gollum, it's certainly good to see you. And Burka or Burku, if I've said your name correctly, it's good to see you. And we got some other folks that are just about to join in. I can see them already coming in here. So, again, if you haven't already, just go ahead and type in the area of the Q&A box. Tell me a little bit of something about yourself. Maybe you can just tell me where you live. That'll be just fine for this afternoon. Again, my name is Eric Auger. I will be your host this afternoon as we go through today's webinar. Some of you are brand new that I've never seen. I've never seen some of these names before, but I do welcome you here. What I'd like for you to do is listen for just a couple of minutes here. One of our contributing consultants that we have here for American Business Systems is Dr. Vicki Rackner. She was a board certified general surgeon. She is retired. She's been retired for several years now. She has written a book called The Myth of the Rich Doctor. And she is also on the board of directors of an organization called MIRMA. That's important because I'm going to share with you who and what MIRMA is all about in here in just a moment. But I've got a little video clip of her just chatting with you directly. I've interviewed Dr. Rackner before. She is instrumental in helping you get and land your first doctors. So I thought I'd start off today. If we're going to be engaging with a doctor, let's hear from one. And I just want to play this little clip from her for you for this afternoon. And as always, want to make sure all of our technology is working properly. So here we go. Well,
congratulations for finding the American Business Systems site. You're probably looking for a great business opportunity, and you have found one. I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner. I call in my experience as a practicing surgeon and entrepreneur to help doctors thrive. What I can tell you is that while doctors are smart people, they don't have a great business savvy. So the services that ABS offers can literally help doctors turn their practices and their lives around. This is a viable, growing market. Not only that, Patrick Phillips and Adam Phillips have a true commitment to the success of the people who join the ABS family. I think you can't go wrong here.
So some of you have just joined us here. And again, for those that have just joined us here, you're at the right webinar because we're going to be talking about learn how to become a healthcare expert and engage with doctors. So here's what I'd like for you to do. Some of you have already done it. Aline, I appreciate you typing in that you're from Boston, Massachusetts. If the rest of you don't mind just putting in the city and the state that you live in, and I'll be able to call you out and tell you thank you for joining us this afternoon. Folks, I know why you're here. you're here looking for a business opportunity. And really today, what you're trying to look for is, my goodness, will this thing work already? So, and when can I get a doctor? So that's hopefully one of the things I'm going to be helping to answer for you this afternoon. All right, Pretty is here from Seattle, Washington. Gullum is from Houston, Texas, working as an advisor and healthcare consultant. Good to meet you. I appreciate it. Brandy's from West Palm Beach, Florida. Good to see you. Appreciate you joining us here this afternoon, Brandy. Somebody else want to pipe on in? You can certainly check us out here. All right. So some of you may be engaged with this young man here, Adam Phillips. Adam is our CEO of American Business Systems. He and his team kind of heads everything up here. You may be talking with one of our sales reps. Obviously, Adam is very much engaged with them. And then back behind the scenes, always looking for new solutions, new opportunities for all of our business owners here at American Business Systems. He is an author. He co-wrote a book called 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers, along with Dr. Vicki Rackner. He is a participating, contributing editor to the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. You can check out his article. Just get back with your sales rep and say, hey, I'd like to get Adam's latest article from the Billing and Coding magazine. And he's also the founder of the organization called MIRMA. Now, I mentioned to you earlier, MIRMA is a great organization, and Dr. Vicki Rackner is the medical director that's on staff there for MIRMA. And that organization is for you, that you'll automatically be a part of once you have completed your training here at American Business Systems. And it is MIRMA through the credentialing part that what we do, and over the leadership of Dr. Vicki Rackner, will certify you as a medical revenue manager. So a certified medical revenue manager is going to be your credentials after you complete our training class here at American Business Systems. Maureen is from Washington, D.C. area. So good to see you. Appreciate you joining us here. Burku, you again from Memphis, the Tennessee area. So good to have everybody. There's some other folks there. So Lynn, if you want to pipe in, and some other folks, you can certainly. Charles is from Little Elm. Okay, that's up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So good to have you up here as well. Again, today's today's webinar topic is learn how to become a healthcare expert and engage with doctors. Now, I'm going to talk with you about 3 executive marketing strategies for medical billing. And so we're going to deal with those, each and one of those, in order, and we're going to take our time. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to participate with me. I've got enough content that can obviously take us the entire hour, but feel free to ask me any questions. If you don't mind, if you've got general questions like, how long does it take to get through the training, or, how do I get things set up, or anything pertaining to that, which would become more of like a general type question, if you wouldn't mind keeping that towards the end. And let's try to keep our questions on topic as best we can. Now, listen, if you've got to leave before the top of the hour, or before we finish up here, feel free to go ahead and type in your question. Say, hey, I got to get ready to go somewhere, and please answer the question. So I will happily do that as well. So, but I'd like to try to stay on topic as best as possible to kind of keep things running smoothly and really orderly as best we can, because it's one thing that I'm going to be talking about today builds upon another. Okay, and so again, just as a general rule, if we can keep all of your general questions that we can kind of take towards the end, I'll be happy to do that. If you got specific questions about the topic, then let's dive into that. Lynn, good to see you from Tennessee as well. So thank you for piping in there. All right, folks, let's get started here. Strategy number 1. We want to position you as a healthcare industry expert. That's what we do. So our new business owners are going to be empowered with an in-depth engagement strategy or strategies. We've got several of them that we're going to be dealing with here. I'm going to try to go over a few of them as the best I can. But folks, let me start off with this. When you get all of your investment together and you've completed all of your paperwork here, the first thing that's going to happen is that you're going to be enrolled into our I call it our CEO boot camp, basically, because that's really what it becomes. We consider you to be an executive from the very beginning. I consider every one of you to be in an executive mindset already, because you're here today. And you're here not to become an employee. You're here because you want to run your business. Some of you may already own your own business. So I want to speak with you with a certain level of intelligence here, and talk. Let's talk, shop here whenever it comes to healthcare and what you're going to learn here. So let me share with you just a little bit of what you're going to become as I kind of get to this next slide here. So our strategic training focuses on equipping your company to comprehend the healthcare ecosystem. So that's everything about healthcare. So when I know that what maybe has brought you in here is that you've heard, hey, I can possibly do medical billing from home. And what we're wanting to say is that is exactly what you can do. But sometimes I think we allow that to kind of say, oh, I'm just going to have a little job on the side at part-time at home. Now, a lot of our new business owners, they actually start off with that, maybe with one or two doctors in the beginning. But again, I feel like I want to engage with you as an already executive, that you're running your company, because eventually what you're going to want to do is expand your business, hire other people. You may even hire some sales reps along the way. We'll talk a little bit about that and how you can do that early on. You may end up hiring a director for all of your billing. So one of the things that we want to do is get you educated where you understand healthcare as a whole, very holistic approach to what we're trying to do here. And so completing that first paragraph here is we want to create in you a comprehensive healthcare ecosystem knowledge in which your clients, your doctors, operate. These are one of the first things you're going to learn is really kind of what's the workflow in a doctor's office. Some of you may already come with that knowledge, but a lot of you may not. So now we've all been to a doctor's office and we kind of know what to expect, but it doesn't mean it's always operating properly. And as you can see here, at the last part of it, rather than just merely processing claims. Now, I say merely processing claims. Let's not take that for granted. That's where the cash flow comes from. If you're not processing claims, you're not generating income for the doctor. Therefore, you're not generating claims or money for yourself. So we're going to kind of go through a little bit towards the end. One of the slides I have prepared for you is the difference of what it costs a doctor to do to have an employee versus having an outsource, and the cost savings that if the doctor could just get it out of their office, some of the savings that you'll see right off the bat. So again, this training is going to help develop your understanding beyond just billing codes, and don't let that freak you out a little bit. We actually have what's called certified professional coders. In our world, they're called CPCs. So we have certified professional coders that are slotted within a couple of our services, Audit Guard and CodeWrite. Those services is basically your back office coding group. Okay, so don't ever fear like today. My goodness, Eric's already talked to me something way above my head, and I don't know anything about it. Am I going to have to go to school to learn coding? And you're not going to have to do that. So let's kind of put that behind us. So it's going to be further than just understanding billing codes. Or just the clinical workflows. We're going to talk about the clinical workflows. We're also going to talk about regulatory requirements for each of these doctors. Those change kind of frequently throughout the year. Being a part of American Business Systems, what you're getting is your own back office of all of this. So think of this as American Business Systems doing a couple of things. It's creating this world of opportunity for you to go out there and build a business with this big back office help that you've got here on the backside of American Business Systems. And then lastly, as you can kind of see there, it's the whole aspect of understanding really is what's happening on the financial aspects of a doctor's practice. So what's the real in and out things that are going on with a doctor? So, folks, you're learning more than just what we call medical billing is what I'm trying to get to. You're going to be learning a ton of information that you're going to want to certainly know about here. All right, so let's keep going here. I want to first pause here just a second to make sure that I'm not leaving anybody behind. Are there any particular questions that you may have here about concerning what we're talking about so far? Because we're talking about positioning you as that industry expert out there. Now, if you don't, I'm going to move on, because what you're going to find out in this training, there is going to be 10 modules. These 10 modules is going to cover a ton of information. Now, what it's going to take you to get through this particular training is only about I'd say an average of 12 to 15 days, okay? Each of these modules are 90 minutes long that you're going to go through. You're going to be one-on-one with an instructor. And it's not just any instructor who we've taught to basically parrot back to you what you're supposed to learn. The trainers that you're going to have here are current business owners with American Business Systems. They've been trained by other business owners, and they're still operating and conducting their business here with American Business Systems as their back office for all of their medical billing. And we've helped them learn how to hire, directors for medical billing in their own business. We've taught them how to learn how to create sales reps for them to continue to keep their marketing continuum out there. We've shown them how to build their business from LLCs to C Corps and making sure that they've named their business correctly. We've helped them get their websites launched, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But through this in-depth certified medical revenue manager training course or outline, this is going to take you basically what I call soup to nuts. Now, one thing I didn't have in here yet, because it's just rolling out here in the first part of this year, and that is once you've completed this training. Now, once you've completed this training, you're free to go and you can go start building your business. And through the training, through these 10, 12 to 15 days of training, that trainer is going to engage you to start doing some of your marketing. And who knows, but if not by within the first 30 to 45 days, you've already gotten your first client. At least you're going to be engaged with a couple of them already. But what can happen here is if you want additional training, let's say more of call it a master's degree in what we do here, more of a collegiate type of training. We actually have that that has started. It has been supported by our support group here, which again are still people that are associated with American Business Systems as a medical billing company. Because we know that all things change, and we know that you need the additional training, you need the additional support. So when you come into American Business Systems, you're not just buying some nice little wrapped up package and going and that's giving you a set of pre-printed contracts and anything to go along with that. PowerPoint presentations or things that you can print off on your computer to pass out as handouts or anything else like that. No, you're getting quality content, marketing content, as you'll see here in just a moment. But you're getting a support system and a training system that is second to none. That's what we do. We don't bog ourselves down with the development of our own software. We have partnered with some of the leading technology partnerships out there that can provide in what we know of is some of the top 3 different types of billing practice management systems out there on the market today to customize and help you land that doctor the best way that we can. Many times there's going to be some doctors who may not want to change their system just yet, and that's okay. I want to assure you that whatever system that you're using, we know that our methodologies are going to help convert that doctor into instead of a lost or a cost center into more of a profit cash flow type system within that doctor's office, because that's what you're wanting to do there. So again, strategically, what are we going to be doing for you? Again, we're going to position you as a healthcare industry expert, and that's all done by our training. And it's like I said, it's very, very in depth of that training. Now, today is not the day that I'm going to systematically go through every module of that. What I want to try to do is talk to you on that CEO level, because so this was strategy number one. So we've got to make sure that you are educated. We got to make sure that you are ready to meet the field out there. Now, before I move on to the next thing here, a lot of people have asked us here, hey, Eric or Adam or Jason, um, before I get started, or can I kind of try to kick the tires and see what I can do to go pre-market? Let me tell you about pre-marketing. If you don't know all the acronyms, you don't know all the lingo, know all the particular knowledge, whenever it comes down to medical revenue management, you're going to get lost in the weeds and you're going to look as though that you don't know what you're talking about and you're going to lose all of your credibility. And we don't want that. And it's not that we're trying to get your money first. What we're trying to do is protect your reputation. And so that's part of what we're doing because we take this very seriously. Now, folks, we've been doing this for over 30 years now. So it's not because, again, that we're trying to, again, say, hey, if you'll just put your money up front, we're going to get you through training, and then, then we've captured your money and we don't help you anymore. These webinars and these types of webinars that you're going through right now, although they are for you of looking at getting into this business and kind of doing some of this. Hopefully, can everybody see me? It looks like my computer froze here just for a second. Can anybody hear me? Okay. Okay. My computer froze there, and I wanted to make sure I didn't lose my internet. Okay, James, thank you. James and I we've shared these webinars long enough. James, just be my backup if you need to be there for me. I appreciate it. All right. So again, we're just here to help you. We want to help you build that business. We're here. We've got people that have been with us for 20, 25 years. So folks, we've been here a long time. We want to continue to be here for you going into the future. Now, the second strategy is we want you to have a consultative approach for physician engagement, okay? So if you look at the first thing we want to do is we want to teach you how to cultivate your orbit of influence. So what is an orbit of influence? It's those people that you know that are closest to you. So what we want to do is help you recognize who is in my business orbit. Now, for you people out there, again, that are attending this afternoon, again, we're talking basically, again, CEO level to CEO level, okay, or COO, or whatever you might want to be called. Business owner to business owner, that's what we're dealing with. Who is in your business orbit right now of influence? That's who you're going to start looking at of going, I need to make sure that those folks know that I'm going to be in business. Now, if you heard our webinar that we had not too long ago, that was with, gosh, I can't remember the young lady's name here, but right off the top of my head, but she started with us back in September. She went through training. And then when we did an interview with her just about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, she had already closed her 4th doctor. And how she got there was she used her leverage of her business orbit of influence, is basically what it was all about. So that's what she was able to do. And she just used the techniques that we talked to her about. And she worked through that as we went through it. The second thing is to cultivate relationship with others who have existing doctor relationships. Now, this is part of finding what we call power partners, people that are already doing work and business with doctors already. You'd be surprised of who some of those folks are. Give you a hint, a couple of them are going to be your bankers or banker investors that deal with working with doctors, real estate people that work with doctors. Then you're going to be able to find some folk out there that are already engaged with doctor because they're already selling to the doctor. And those we're going to show you and teach you where to find those folks out there so that you can connect with them on that level of business orbit. I love that name. And so I've kind of gravitated towards that because it really encompasses what we're trying to do. And then thirdly, we want to cultivate business relationship with others within your community. Now, these are people that may not have relationships with doctors already. However, what they might be involved in, you might be finding out folks like, especially within your community, I bet you could find some folks that are already doing home health. Okay. Now, those are some people that are already probably know some doctors because they're already engaged with some doctors, but they know other people, people that deal with blood work labs. You've got those folks within your community. There's a huge resource of folks that are out there in healthcare already that are engaging either indirectly or directly with doctors. That is going to be the pool of people that you're going to be working with and continue to keep building your relationship with. So, utilizing this second strategy, in 2025, our new business owners can utilize the power of ABS network awareness strategies. And so, what does this mean? So, what I narrowed it down to a couple of paragraphs here. So, I'd like to talk with you. First of all, you're going to see the word sales pitch there. Don't be bothered with the word sales pitch because what I'm trying to say is that this means moving beyond what anybody would consider to be a generic sales pitch. So what you're going to learn through our training is you're going to examine the practice's financial situation, which is going to include their billing performance, claim submission patterns, denial rates, and collection efficiency. I'm about to show you here what you're going to be doing probably within the halfway through when you get through with training. Remember, I told you it's probably going to take you anywhere from 12 to 15 days. So roughly just about 2 weeks there. You're going to be engaged in what's called a practice analysis questionnaire. And I'm going to show that to you here in just a moment. Because what we want you to have is that consultative approach to your physicians and for physician engagement. So rather than treating all practice identically, like the same, because there's not one practice that is like another. You may even find two family practices literally next door to each other, but I'm going to promise you they don't operate and work in the same way. One may be extremely efficient in one area, let's say like checking people in, and have poor practices in the back office. You may have some folks that are on the front end that are terrible with their check-in process, but those patients wouldn't go anywhere else because the doctor and their staff gives them what they need for healthcare. But let me also say this. One of the reasons why I would consider you really looking towards being a part of what we're doing here at American Business Systems is basically what it does for your community. And why do I say that for your community? I love my community where I live. You probably love the community in which you live. But what you're going to find out here is that you can help improve the healthcare of your community by helping the financial care for your doctors. Because I have known doctors that are so stressed out. Matter of fact, Dr. Vicki Rackner calls there's still a huge physician burnout. There are doctors I know personally who have left medical practice completely because of the stress of it. And a lot of the stress comes from, guess where? Billing performances, claim submittal patterns, denial rates, and collections efficiency. That alone keeps doctors up at night. Well, it would keep any business owner up at night, especially when you've got a staff full of people and you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Why is the collection so way down as they are? Is my medical biller that I've hired for in the office doing what they're supposed to be doing? Did the person that I've hopefully contracted with of doing my billing outside of my office, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? We're going to show you step-by-step processes that a lot of doctors' offices don't even know about, when even how to hire somebody to do their billing in-house. So rather than treating all practices again identically, you will identify their specific weaknesses and opportunities. For example, one practice may excel in coding, but falter in collections, whereas another will face high denial rates due to credentialing challenges. Now, again, don't let some of these terminologies scare you. That's why I tell you, be careful and try not to go out there and go pre pre-market out there. So let me just really quickly give you a quick education on what credentialing is. Really, in a nutshell, credentialing is nothing more than presenting a doctor to an insurance company, let's call Blue Cross Blue Shield, and telling Blue Cross Blue Shield, yes, this person that I'm presenting to you is a real doctor. Here are all of their credentials. Here's their diplomas. Here is what they, here's their, all the other credentials that go along with that. Are they a part of any fellowships? All these different things that they have to go through. So they have to credential with Medicare. So the first thing they have to do is get a Medicare number. That's one of the first things they have to do even before they get with any other insurance is out there. They have to have a Medicare number. And once they've got a Medicare number, then they can do Blue Cross and they can do all these other things there. But that's the nutshell of what credentialing is. Now, we actually have a credentialing service called Credentialing Now. So you can go into a particular round table where you're meeting with other business people, or remember that business orbit of influence that we were talking about earlier, that your business not only can do the billing for the doctor, but it can also do the doctor's credentialing and re-credentialing with that. We can do everything from coding to coding audits to HIPAA compliancy training to helping the doctor market their business properly. And again, like I said, if the doctor needs credentialing services, you can add that to it. Now, that first part that I showed up here before I move to the next slide here, I want to show you again that what you're going to be going over, you're going to examine each practice's financial situation, which includes their billing performance, claim submittal patterns, denial rates, and collections efficiency. Now, how do you do that? It's called a practice analysis questionnaire. Now, I've got an example of it. This is 3 pages, probably now a 4 to 5 page document. Folks, you can come out of our training and sit with a doctor and or an office manager, and even let's say that you come across someone that's already doing business with a doctor. Sit down with somebody and say, this is the exact thing I'm going to do with every single doctor. I'm not going to ask them for the business. All I'm going to do is present to them an opportunity for allow me to do a practice analysis on their practice. No obligation, no fees to go along with this. It's simply, let me get some information to you and I'm going to present it back to you to that doctor's office. Now, let me pause here just real quickly because I want you to kind of understand how I want you to think like a doctor and understanding the significance of this practice analysis. Okay. So if you're brand new at all of this and you don't know anything really about what happens when you go see a doctor for yourself or an examination, or you're not feeling well and you got to go to the doctor, the way in which a doctor sees each patient is an acronym of the word SOAP. Okay. Just like what I said, soap, like what you would bathe with or shower with, a bar of soap, okay? So they have what's called a SOAP note. That stands for, stands for subjective, O stands for objective, A stands for assessment, and P stands for plan. So let me repeat that if you want to take the notes down. Subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. Let's work our way through that real quickly. So you go to the doctor's office, and the first thing the doctor says, Tony, James, Brandy, why are you here seeing me today? What's the problem? What's going on? The first thing you're going to say, well, doctor, I haven't been feeling well. Well, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. You're going to tell the doctor, I've got a cough. It's kind of deep in my lungs. That's what's known as subjective information. The doctor's asking you questions to get you to talk so that the doctor can subjectively understand what's, at least where to look, okay? And where to probe and what to look for. At that point, the doctor's probably going to pull out their stethoscope and put their stethoscope to your chest and tell you to breathe in slowly and exhale slowly, and then put the stethoscope on your back and tell you to do the same thing. What are they doing? They're doing what's called the objective part of the note. They heard what you said. Now they're going to objectively confirm what that is. Okay. Through that, they may run some tests. That's going to go in their note. Then finally, they're going to do what's an assessment. They're going to say, okay, first of all, you don't have pneumonia, but you do have bronchitis. Now that's an assessment. So the doctor took the subjective questions and did an objective observation to you, and now they have an assessment. They tell you you've got bronchitis, and they're going to write a care plan for you. Which that care plan is going to say, I want you to rest for 2 or 3 days. Here's a doctor's note if you need it from me. Here's your prescriptions of what you're going to need to go buy and pick up before you get home. And call me if you need me in the meantime. Okay. They're going to wrap up what's called their plan. That's their plan. That's what I just kind of went over. If they've done the assessment, they got to write their plan to get down. And that's what all that is. Guess what we've done with this practice analysis? We have got subjective questions we want to ask the doctor because we want to know where it hurts. Then when we find out where it hurts, we're going to discover what those pains are. Okay. Now, that's the first part of this practice analysis. Once we get that, now we're going to put it through our assessment, and that assessment is going to become a practice revenue report, which has not the plan on it. You can see there's no plan. This is just the assessment. This is what's going on. This is the problem, doctor. This is the problem with your money system, your cash flow system. If you look up at the top, doctor, you can see that you're probably collecting about $150,000. If you were to go with us and change some of the practices that you're doing, we can raise that from $157,000 a month in your practice to $177,000. That's almost a $27,000 swing per month. That's about 17%. Now, let's stop there. Talking business to business person today, if you think about that, that's let's just call it $25,000 more a month. What does that come out to be? That's a lot of money over the year in gains. Most doctors would say, hey, if you could get half of that to me, I'd switch over to you. You can see, folks, we're not selling anything to the doctor except their own money. That's all that we're doing. Now, we may have some tools to assess that with us and help us through that, which would be part of the plan. Now, the great thing about part of the plan is that part of that plan is that workup is that you're going to learn this in your training. We're going to get you to show you how to do this practice analysis questionnaire, put it in this report, and then put a presentation together. That's kind of like your plan there. But as you're presenting that back to the doctor, part of that is that we're going to show them the software in which we're going to use to accomplish that. Now, again, they may or may not use that particular software. We've got 3 of them to choose from. And again, some doctors may say, well, I don't want to switch just yet. What are you going to do now? Okay, well, I can tell you this, I can't guarantee these numbers, but I can guarantee you probably at least half of that because we're just in some of the things that we do. So again, we're teaching you and going to train you to do the same exact thing that the doctors are doing. Subjective, objective assessment and plan. We're going to do it basically a doctor's soap note. Now, let me ask you, when you go to the doctor and you don't feel well, and the doctor discovers that you've got bronchitis, and they put the plan together, how often do you say, sorry, I don't think I'm going to do that today. I'm not ready for that plan yet. No, you're going to say, I want to get rid of this stuff. That's where we've helped this is why it goes beyond just trying to sell a doctor and throw a sales pitch out there. And that's why we don't even use sales pitches. We have processes. That's why it's American Business Systems. It's processes and systems, things that have been tried and true and done over 30 years. Now, does it work with every single doctor every single time? We would be foolish to tell you that we can guarantee you that. But I promise you, you cast enough seed out there, you're going to find one of those doctors who say, you know what, I need that remedy. And then I need that remedy now. So one other quick way before we move on to the last strategy here, some of the ways that you're going to find your orbits of people are going to be engaging in actual times where the community is coming together. One of the best two that I can tell you on this is the group called BNI that's to the left, and the other one that's to the right, probably your local Chamber of Commerce. Now, your BNI group is going to be a little bit more specific, more focused, because they will only allow one industry in that area at a time, which means if you join a local BNI group, there can only be one medical billing group in that group anyway. And that's where you create that synergistic part of what I call very focused and very concentrated areas of your billing orbit influence or your business orbit influence. Okay. Again, the young lady that that we interviewed a couple of weeks ago, that's how she got one of her clients, was through a BNI group. I bet you probably more than half of our business owners have gotten their first clients through a BNI group because it's so focused, so lasered. But that doesn't discount attending Chamber of Commerce's. Now that's a little bit wider area, but guess what you get to find out? You get to find out everybody that's in healthcare at those Chamber of Commerce's. Because guess what? The nursing homes, the skilled nursing facilities, the home health industries are there. Some of the doctors might be a part of it. Chiropractors are certainly being a part of that. And they are some of your first best people to actually do billing for. You're going to find physical therapists there because physical therapists are looking for what? They're looking for people that they can get into their business. Why are they going to the Chamber of Commerce? Because they know somebody knows somebody that needs their help. That's why you do that. That's why you have a Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to teach you the strategies of how to get your first client, either through the BNI group or the Chamber of Commerce. That's what we do. But I'm going to tell you that there is none better. I'd say none better. There is some advantages and some disadvantages with BNI. The advantage is that it's so lasered focused, there can only be one industry in that group at a time. The cons to it, the disadvantage is that it can be cost. There's a cost that can go along with it. Now, the great thing about it is that what a lot of our folks have learned is that typically you can go to 1 or 2, maybe even up to 3 meetings for no cost. And many times they find their first client through there. And then maybe as a gratitude thing, you just say, look, you guys have helped me so much. I'm going to go ahead and join the group. And then guess what happens? You find more doctors to do billing for. So that's strategy number 2. So again, first of all, remember what we're going to do. We're going to get you up and have this CEO type of education for you to get you to become an expert. The second thing is we're going to teach you and show you how to have that consultative approach for physicians and for physician engagement. Okay. Lastly, strategy number 3, you must have executive content. If you're not presenting executive content, you're just printing stuff off your printer. It's not going to work. This is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to create an executive type of website highlighting all of your services, credentials, and your expertise. You don't have to spend hours trying to put together your own website. That's part of the services that you're going to get with American Business Systems. And it's not going to be some cookie cutter website that has one pre-designed set, which is going to say www.absystems.com/Charles Billing /whatever.com. It's not that. It's going to have your specific URL, which is why we're going to take you through the training and through support to make sure that you know how to name your business. And we're going to help you and assist you what we can to find that proper URL. Thankfully, the .coms, most of the .coms you would think have already been taken up. You can be a little creative there, but the great thing about the last extensions out there have changed so drastically to where it's not that big of a deal if you have a different type of ending to your website. So it doesn't have to be .net, doesn't always have to be .com to show forth that you're a legit company anymore. Because now that it's gotten to be a very specific with what kind of industry it is. And sometimes you're going to find it could be .healthcare or something to do with health there. Okay. So your website is going to look professional. It's going to have the right content. You're not going to have any misspellings in it. You're not going to have all of that. The content's already built, and we can help you craft certain things to it and make sure that it stays that way. The second thing is to develop content addressing common billing challenges and solutions. So we've got that built for you already. That's part of what you're going to learn and part of what support's going to help support you in. So whenever it also comes down to all of your contracts, all of your everything else that goes along with this, that's part of what you're getting here with us. All right, so let me get to what these websites look like. So let's look at this real quickly. So the first website that you're looking at here is a sample of probably 10 to 12, it could be up to 15 now, different types of looks and feels to your website. What you're going to want to do is have a logo presented and made for yourself. Again, we're going to kind of point you in that direction of where you can get your logos made, crafting your name properly. So there's several different websites. All the marketing pieces are 8.5 by 11 on hard card stock. Okay, now this is not the cheap stuff that you would find with the lightest material that you can find. These are high gloss materials that you'll be able to present that. So a couple of key highlights there. Before I move on, there's a couple of them that's on the bottom right-hand corner that I want to kind of showcase real quickly, and I think we're going to talk at least about one of them. The compliancy guard, that has to do with HIPAA compliancy. I'm going to share a little bit about that. But you see that other one over there called virtual care? Folks, you may not even know this. So make sure that you get with your sales rep here and talk to them. What in the world is virtual care? Just in general, what it is to let you know about it, it's called remote patient monitoring. It is a device that allows a doctor to get the vitals from their patient without the patient ever coming into the office. Okay, so for an example, we've got specific blood pressure cuffs that are cell phone enabled. Okay, so it doesn't mean it has to be connected to the internet. That as soon as the patient puts the blood pressure cuff on and hits start, it's going to take their blood pressure, right? And it's going to have a reading. The old ancient days was, hey, while you're at home, make sure you have all your readings. What this does, it actually, through the cellular phone services, like through Verizon and AT&T towers and all the different towers, there's a cellular enabled part of that device that once that reading has been collected, it automatically sends it via the cell towers to a specific website or the doctor's platform, the doctor's platform in which they can keep those readings. So if they're out of range readings, the doctor gets notified, and then the doctor can check and call on the patient. It could be an additional visit that the doctor can generate out of that. Just the doctor reading the results from a blood pressure cuff or a scale or a glucometer, just reading that, the doctor can bill for that, folks. So that means more income to the doctor. And every time that you generate more income to the doctor, that generates more income for you. So again, get with your sales rep here and dive into a little bit of that virtual care. But some of the things that I want to share with you, pertaining, again, I mentioned this earlier, is the coding part of it. Again, our certified professional coders do everything for you. You don't have to hire a coder. You don't have to go to school to be a coder. If a doctor needs coding, you scan that in and let them take care of that. Now, so that we have full transparency here, there is a what I call a wholesale cost for that, and you retail that back to the doctor. That's all this is. You would have to hire somebody else to do this anyway. Why not just have someone instead of a full-time employee on staff, and it's costing you an arm and a leg, just as needed, or as in the healthcare world, PRN. Just PRN what you need for coding, and that would be the same thing for CodeWrite. If the doctors, this is one thing, the way you can utilize CodeWrite. If you got a new doctor, you want to make sure that they've been doing billing correctly, run them through an audit. This would be the same type of audit that they might go through Medicare or through Blue Cross Blue Shield to make sure that their coding's done properly. Then I've already mentioned about compliancy guard. Every doctor's office needs to have HIPAA compliancy rules and regulations posted, trained, have a contingency plan. If they don't have that and there's a somewhat of a HIPAA violation and they're in trouble and they have nothing to fall back on, a lot of money is going to be leaving that doctor's office. Quick Collect allows the doctors to help themselves manage their receivables. You'd be surprised of how the doctors can't collect, and this helps replace the doctor's need for a collection agency. The last thing a doctor needs to do is send their patient to a collection agency. That's not good. That's not good business. Remember, they're just as much as in business as you are. Who wants to make your clients angry with you? You see what I'm saying? So, and then lastly, as I kind of wrap up here, we got about 10 more minutes and we'll be closing this thing down. So again, if you've got any questions, get ready to, hopefully I've been giving you the information and giving it to you very concise. The last part of all of the executive content is you presenting yourself as the executive yourself. And one way that we help you provide that for you is that we have room in a book, a real book. This is not an ebook. Now, it isn't an ebook to a point that if you'd like to get a copy of that, we might be able to get you a copy of that. However, this is a real book. It's about 260, 70 pages long. It is printed. We can drop ship it to you. This is part of your materials that you're going to have here, and you will have written the forward to the book. So we'll print it as on demand. We'll make sure that we have all of your correct spelling, your first and last name. We'll put in there that you're a certified medical revenue manager. We'll put the name of your business in there, the phone number, your website, an email contact for you. We've got a templated forward. So if you care to write it or rewrite it, you may. We'll make sure, again, we'll run it through all of our spell checkers and grammatical parts that need to happen, make sure that there's no grammatical errors. And then we'll get that printed for you. And the authors of the book is the owner, the founder of the company. That was Patrick Phillips. And then guess who? Dr. Vicki Rackner co-wrote this book for our certified medical revenue managers to be heads and tails above everybody else out there. This is part of your marketing strategy. So when you're finding your people within your business orbit, one of the things you might want to get in their hands is a copy of this book. Now you see in this quick little slide demonstration here, you see these little tabs that are hanging out to the side of it. They're little yellow tabs. You know, you can pick those up at any office supply store. Through your training, that trainer is going to you'll actually have a book, and he or she are going to walk you through that book, telling you which page to put a tab on, and then which page to highlight certain parts of the book so it draws the attention directly to certain parts of that book that you want the doctor to read. Folks, the doctors don't have a lot of time to sit there and read a full book. As you can see, this is a real book. But when you're doing it this way, you've already helped shortcut some of the time that the doctors don't have, okay? All right, so those are the 3 strategies that I wanted to kind of take you through this afternoon. Now, one thing that everybody is probably still asking, why would a doctor even use an outsourced biller, okay? The reason is not necessarily because they don't think that they want somebody in-house because they feel like they've got a little bit better control. That might be one reason. But I believe we can show them financially why it's better to get it out of their office. First of all, to have a biller in their office. And I've got 1.5 employees here, but basically what it's going to take just to have one employee, it's going to be anywhere from about $58,000 to $68,000. So the reason we have 1.5 in there is because many times there's more than one person that's touching a claim. If you think about it, there's probably 3 to 4 people touching that claim. And that's everything from the beginning to the very end before that biller even gets it to ship it out. Okay. So just cost alone, just the person, the personnel to be able to do this can be expensive. Now that doesn't include their payroll taxes. That's on top of that. And then they got workers' comp insurance. So just the payroll insurances, the employee benefits that come along with that can be costly already. If there's any particular training costs that they're going to have to ship those folks to, or have someone come in, or they're using another employee to teach them, remember that takes away from training. Takes, if you've got somebody that's not dedicated to this all the time, somebody's having to be paid to do that. Employee benefits packages, there's that for $7,000. Remember, there's always 100%, a doctor is always spending money on software, IT, hardware, especially if they're trying to keep it themselves. That can be very, very expensive per month, all right, or per year. You can see just in general, on average, it could cost a doctor just to have one and maybe a half a person almost $100,000, so $95,000. If they just outsource the same amount of claims to somebody like yourself, they're going to pay you about 54, so let's call it 55. Let's call it rounded up to 55,000. Tell me the doctor won't say, you know what, for the same work, you're already gaining money, doctor, by getting this out of your office. Let alone that when you're such a busy office, claims that get denied typically hardly ever get followed up on and resubmitted. That's why they try to see so many people at one time. So what if we could tell the doctor, look, you don't have to see as many people in a day. You can probably get home at a decent hour, be able to spend the time with the family or go golfing or whatever else you want to go do. See less patients, be less stressful, and make the same amount of money that you've been making just because you're going to get it outsourced to somebody. So folks, that's what we've been able to cover over almost this last hour. I told you it's going to probably take us all the way up to an hour. So hopefully you've learned something on how to become a healthcare expert and start to engage with doctors, and let us be your leverage. That's what we want to be. We just celebrated last year 30 years. So why don't you leverage 30 years of experience? We're in 31 now. So we can clearly say we have surpassed the 30-year mark, okay? It's not that we just turned 30. We've actually gone through 30 years, so we're here. One thing I'd like for you to do, if you haven't already, go to our website. Up in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a big old blue box that says download our 5 secrets to success. Go knock that out for yourself. You're going to want it, need it. You're going to find some white paper information in there, some more information about how we help you get that first client.